I was saying that we understand that some of us might have studied this paper some time back and maybe didn't sit for the exams. I also understand that I have people coming from level 2 directly. So our approach will cater for everyone. I am Zedi Muyingo, the speaker for today, and I will be your tutor for this paper. What I request from you is commitment and cooperation, as these are very key in achieving success in all CPA exams. I have hope and I'm confident beyond reasonable doubt that within the next 2 months, we shall be ready to face the final exam. By ready, I mean we shall be at least 70% ready. So, what that calls for is commitment, cooperation. Once those two are available, then we can achieve that target. I have shared with you my mobile there for engagements in this paper. In this engagement, for the next 4 to 5 months, I'm not a teacher, but I'm a consultant. You have paid for a professional service for which you must get benefits. Feel free to engage me. I do not want to create impression that there will be a gap between you, my clients, and me, your consultant. This is a professional engagement in which I must provide professional advice. So please feel free to engage me. Engage me. So, if we are to set off, this is how our syllabus looks like. Our paper has 9 learning outcomes, and it's also an extension of paper 7. What are the must-know areas? In this paper, the key areas are group accounting, because group accounting is the question 1, is the compulsory question. IFRS 8, what we call operating segments. IFRS 9, which is financial instruments. IFRS 2, which is share-based payments. IFRS for small and medium enterprises. IS 32, which is presentation of financial instruments. IS 33, which is earnings per share. Environmental, social, and governance. Corporate reporting. Conceptual and regulatory framework. Colleagues, as I have listed those areas there, those are called must know, implying that don't attempt to go to an exam if you are not well conversant with those areas. I can accept you to be lacking in other areas, but not in these areas here. That's why we call them must know. They are not debatable. The paper composition, the paper is not 100% computations. It has computations and theory. The computations are 60% and the theory carries 40%. The questions combine both, right away from section A to section B. Section A has theory and Section B has theory. At this advanced level, I am very sure that whatever I'm talking about here, you're already familiar with. You are aware that exams are set from learning outcomes. So out of those 9 learning outcomes, you must know all of them. They should be here at your fingertips. Okay? So in terms of the learning outcomes, what is expected of us? That at the end, at the completion of this syllabus, you must be able to apply the financial reporting framework. The financial reporting framework comprises of the local framework. We have the regulatory framework in Uganda, which consists of regulators such as ICPA, Bank of Uganda, Insurance Regulatory Authority, Capital Markets Authority, URSBS, or what we used to call the Register of Companies, UBRA for retirement benefits. Those are the regulators of financial reporting in Uganda. Why do we call them regulators? Is because the way financial institutions prepare their financial statements is different from the way manufacturing companies prepare theirs. For example, in a balance sheet, you find that in a manufacturing entity, the first item is PPE. But when I'm analyzing a bank, the first item cannot be PPE in a balance sheet. Banks present in order of liquidity, starting with the most liquid asset. So they will start with cash, then investment in government securities, like that. So we have several regulators for financial reporting. That is locally. Even globally, you have the ISB, International Accounting Standards Board, which sets the standards that we use. You have the IFRIC, International Financial Reporting Interpretations Committee, which interprets the standards. Okay? You have the Advisory Council. You have the IFRS Foundation, etc. So we shall look at this in our first topic. So as our part of our expectations, you are expected to apply this conceptual framework, this financial reporting framework. Number 2, you must be able to present a complete set of financial statements, including group accounts with the disclosures. This is question 1, consolidated financial statements. You should be able to analyze financial statements. Analyze financial statements. In May 2025, question 2 was ratio analysis, and people cried. We hadn't covered ratios. This is level 2 work, but you see the learning outcome is there. So as we walk this journey together, if you find out that we are not addressing learning outcomes, please come to me and say, sir, I think we are going off. We are not addressing learning outcomes because an exam is set from here. All of these are learning outcomes which are here. I will cover them in class. But where you feel uncomfortable, please come. Analyze information in annual reports. Same as the first one, same as the earlier. Goes back to analysis. How do you analyze information? In this paper, we mainly use ratios to analyze information, trend analysis. Assess the usefulness of financial information to various stakeholders. Who are the users of accounting information? You know them, internal and external. How useful is financial information to them? At this level, we shall not ask you to explain the users of information. We shall ask you to explain how useful accounting information is to those various users. It's at level 2 where you can explain the users of the information. But at level 3, we want you to explain to us how useful accounting information is to those various stakeholders. You expected to evaluate emerging financial reporting issues and developments. As a candidate, as a student of advanced reporting, you must be well conversant with emerging issues in financial reporting. The new standards which are coming up, IFRS 18 to replace IS 1, IFRS S1 and S2, which are about sustainability and climate risk. Okay? Integrated thinking and reporting, accounting for Islamic financial transactions. All of those are emerging issues which should be at your fingertips because an examiner can get you on them. Advise on the statutory and non-statutory financial communication requirements. This feeds into the regulatory framework. As part of the statutory requirements, all limited companies must prepare and present audited financial statements from the Companies Act. That is the requirement from the Companies Act. Prepare and present. On top of that, you must prepare annual reports. We shall look at these things in detail. An annual report is wider than just mere financial statements. On top of that, some sectors require preparation of integrated reports. An integrated report is an extension of an annual report. It tells the stakeholders how a company creates value for its various stakeholders and how it preserves that value. Apply requirements of IFRS in issue. You will only, as part of the syllabus, we shall examine you on the standards which are in issue. A standard which has not been issued cannot be examined because it means at that point it is still an exposure draft. But if you know that this standard was issued, whether in Uganda we have complied or not complied, it can be examined because the learning outcome says apply the requirements of all IFRSs in what? In issue. It doesn't say apply requirements of IFRS adopted in Uganda. For as long as the standard is issued, whether it has been adopted in Uganda or not adopted in Uganda, it can be examined. Evaluate ethical issues relating to financial reporting. Advanced reporting goes beyond just mere computations. We must report ethics. Sorry, we apologize. We are struggling with the network at this time. So I was saying the structure of the exam, of the paper. The paper has two sections, A and B. Section A is compulsory. Once you say it is compulsory, there is no debate, you must do it. It carries 50 marks. How are those 50 marks structured? That section A is about group accounting. The group accounting there can be consolidated balance sheet, consolidated profit or loss, or consolidated statement of cash flows. They can set any of the three. In December, it was balance sheet. In August, it was cash flows. In May last year, it was income statement. So you can see the examiner can pick any. Now, in that question, 70% must be computations. That's why you see, the consolidated income statement can carry 35 marks out of the 50. Then the other 15 marks will be theory. So there is some theory on section A. In section B, you are given 3 optional questions. They are optional, you can choose any, but you must attempt 2. Don't attempt more than 2. Because that just shows that you're not ready, you're just gambling. And don't attempt only 1. Each question there carries 25 marks. However, how are these questions set? Question 2 in section B, because question 1 is compulsory, question 1 is section A. Question 2 is in section B. That question 2 is set from level 3 standards. And again, we go back to those must-know areas. I think I've covered them. Those must-know areas. Largely, you can have question 2 set from these must-know areas. Either IFRS 8, IS 33, IFRS 2, etc. Okay? So that is the question 2. It is set from level 3 standards. However, question 3 of section B should be from level 2 standards. So you see, you cannot run out from level 2 accounting, paper 7. From paper 7, ICPA goes and picks a question from there. Normally about leasing, about IFRS 15, about IS 40, it can be about agriculture, any standards. I will show you later the common standards at level 3 from level 2. Then question 4 of section B is usually theoretical, covering ESG, corporate reporting, and the frameworks, regulatory and conceptual. So this is how the paper is structured. So as you plan to embark on this journey, have this picture in mind. The same presentation will be shared with you. So that I want you to familiarize yourself. What is the expectation? You go into something where you are sure that this is what I expect to find. Okay? The must-know areas are here, as I have already alluded to. Group accounting. The group accounting of this level is advanced consolidated financial statements. You will be required to prepare consolidated statements of financial position, profit or loss, or cash flows. Now, unlike level 2, at this level we test 3 companies. We give you a parent and 2 other companies. The 2 other companies can all be subsidiaries, or one of them can be subsidiary, another one can be an associate. But what you must know is that at this level, you'll have 3 companies, a parent and the other 2. IFRS 8, operating segments. This is a key standard. You must compute and advise on reportable segments. We shall cover it. A segment can be a branch, can be a subsidiary, can be a strategic business unit, can be a product line. You compute and advise on whether it qualifies to be reported. IFRS 9 financial instruments. IFRS 9 financial instruments. This is a very key standard at this level. You are aware that IFRS 9 replaced IS 39 financial instruments. When you talk about financial instruments, you're talking about bonds and treasury bills, loans and advances. Those are financial instruments. Debentures, those are financial instruments. So a financial instrument can be a financial asset or a financial liability. Okay? What is expected from you is to know the measurement and recognition criteria for financial assets and liabilities. How do we measure financial assets? How do we measure financial liabilities? And also the impairment of the financial assets. We don't impair financial liabilities because impairment is impairment of assets. It's an asset that can be impaired, not a liability. We shall look at this in details. IS 32, which is about preparation, so the presentation of financial instruments. Presentation. Here, our main interest will be on compound instruments. What we call compound instruments, these are instruments that contain components of debt and equity. We call them hybrid. How do you handle hybrid instruments? Like convertible bonds, convertible debentures. IFRS 2, which is share-based payment. A company can receive services and pay by way of shares. Or a company can receive services and promise to pay based on the share price. Under such a circumstance, it means the payment is targeted to shares. That's why we call it a share-based payment. Normally in your paper, we test you on share-based payments that are relating to employee service. We shall tell you Zedi has worked for this company for 15 years. Because of that loyalty, the company wants to appreciate him by offering him a chance to buy shares if he continues to work for the next 5 years. So the share-based payments we normally examine in this paper is related to employee schemes, rewarding employees for loyalty, good long-term service. We shall look at it in details. The expectation is, are you able to estimate to compute the expenses, the equity and liabilities resulting from those transactions? IFRS for SMEs. We all know what to call SMEs. SMEs are not defined by their size in reporting. We don't define them by size. We don't define them as per the tax law. We define them as per IFRS. An SME is a company without public accountability. However big you are as a company, but for as long as you're not accountable to the public, for us in reporting, we qualify you as an SME. An SME, again, is a company whose shares are not traded on the stock exchange. If you are not a listed company, you can qualify as an SME. An SME is a company that cannot issue debt instruments on a stock exchange. Okay? So, because SMEs are many in our economy, we have very few companies which are listed. We have very few companies that have public accountability. Because of that, it makes that standard a case standard for our economy. You have to remember that however small a banker can be, however small an insurance company can be, however small a pension company can be, pension funds, banks, insurance companies don't qualify as SMEs because they serve in public interest. Therefore, they are publicly accountable. Okay? IS 33, earnings per share. This is what many candidates hate at this level. But it's a core standard. Are you able to compute the earnings, the basic and diluted EPS, and derive meaning out of them? That's IS 33. ESG. This is becoming the song of the day. Environmental, social, and governance. We normally refer to it as sustainability reporting. Many banks have now incorporated this when lending to borrowers. They ask you, which business are you going to finance? What is its impact on the environment? Banks have now introduced green finance. They lend to you cheaply if the business you are financing is sustainable, doesn't have negative impact on the environment, on the society, They are willing to finance you if you do not discriminate in employment. Some jobs were normally known to be for men, but because of the social, that S represents social. How social are you? Do you discriminate in employment? Are you saying that this work can be done by men, not women? We look at body composition. If you have 7 body members, how many of them are female? How many of them are male? You will see this. This sitting, I will be sharing a lot of information on our platform. And you see how companies report about these things. We have new standards on ESG. We have IFRS S1 and S2. S1, those standards are disclosure standards. What should a company disclose about sustainability? That is IFRS S1. IFRS S1. When I say IFRS S1, I mean International Financial Reporting Standard. Sustainability 1. Standard 1. We have IFRS S2, which is about disclosures on climate risk. I will be sharing all of this. This is a key topic because it is the debate everywhere. Okay? So in this, we are looking at what is the relevance of sustainability reporting and what are the contents of a sustainable report. If I'm preparing a sustainability report, how should it look like? We shall cover this. Corporate reporting is another must-know area. Its relevance and the implication of integrated thinking. We are now reporting beyond numbers because stakeholders want to know more than numbers. Yes, the company may be profitable, but when its long-term survival is questionable. You are profitable because you are overexploiting society. Remember, profit is book value. So integrated thinking brings in a new concept, reporting on how a company creates value for its stakeholders. The stakeholders of a company are many, ranging from internal and external. The shareholders, the employees, the public, government, tax authorities, name them, lenders, etc. How do you create value for those various stakeholders? The lenders give you capital, what you call financial capital. How do you use that financial capital to create value so that you are able to pay back? You can borrow and the borrowing can erode value. You can borrow and invest poorly. The investments don't perform, or the investments become impaired, and the impairment hits your profit or loss, and the profits become nil, and therefore you are unable to pay back. We shall look at the contents of our annual and integration reports. The framework is also key. The conceptual framework and the regulatory framework. We talked about those various regulators, Bank of Uganda, Insurance Regulatory Authority, Capital Markets Authority, etc. How do they regulate financial reporting in Uganda? What role do they play? And we should also look at international harmonization of financial reporting. Because worldwide, we still have countries that don't apply IFRS. US applies GAAP, US GAAP. But are there benefits from harmonizing reporting? We examine that. Why should we all report using IFRS? So those are must-know areas. If I look at the reactions here, okay, can't here, I think we solved this. Does question 3 mean we have to use assumed knowledge of level 2, or you will again teach those standards? Okay, I will go back to that slide. Shall you cover level 2 standards? Yes. And of course, the answer is yes. Because we need to develop an appropriate solution. Between me and you, candidates tend to forget what they covered. where I sit when I say questions about leasing, investment property, and impairment, I assume that, that is a walkover. They have given. Actually, the examiner, when they are putting their level 2 standards, they are giving you simple questions, follow back options. But forgetting that by the time actually a person is doing paper 12, they have actually forgotten level 2. This I've learned now from experience. Now, this time we shall have to develop a solution. I will cover, we shall profile, I've already profiled the common standards, which are picked from level 2, and we shall cover them. As I cover the common standards, it doesn't mean that the other standards that I haven't covered cannot be examined. I will select, because you cannot reproduce level 2 syllabus here. Reproducing it means extending the semester for another 3 months. But I will select some, and you also do some. As we look for, as we engage management to see what is the best option. Should we give our candidates recordings of level 2? Okay. Sorry, the network is somehow not stable. So assumed knowledge. What knowledge do we assume that you come with from paper 7? Or level 2 financial reporting standards, we assume you still remember them. That's why the exam tests you on them. We assume we don't forget these standards. They are relevant at this level. However, the key standards which should come from level 2 are IFRS 16, IFRS 13, IFRS 15. Those, don't forget them. IS 12, IS 21, IS 23, IS 36, IS 37, IS 40, IS 41. And for me, this is what I will cover in class. Then the rest of the standards, you read on your own. Or we can engage admin to give you recordings. This is assumed knowledge. And these are the common standards that are picked from level 2. Okay? What are the examiner's expectations? Our expectations are you should be able to compute and prepare consolidated financial statements of a complex group adjusted for intergroup transactions. When we say complex group, at level 3, as I told you, we give you 3 entities. And then we either test you on mixed groups, we test you on disposals, we test you on step acquisitions, as you will see. So the group accounting we are dealing with at this level is complex, but the principles of group accounting remain the same. Time apportion the income statement, don't time apportion the balance sheet, as you will see. Compute and advise reporting entities on accounting treatment of transactions while referring to applicable standards. That is now section B. In section A, you don't have to quote standards. Section A, just compute and prepare accounts. In section B, questions are about accounting treatment. Whatever question whenever you are answering them, you must compute, you must quote the relevant standards. I don't want to listen to those stories that, what if I don't know the standard? No, please, by the time you go for the examination, you must be well conversant with the at least you know the name of the standard. Report writing in this paper, they will require you to prepare reports. The format of the report that we expect is that of a memo. To, from, date, subject. That is the format we want. To, from, date, and subject. To is the one writing the report. Please never put your examination number anywhere. And never put your name anywhere. Because normally the question will say, as a financial reporting expert, just also say it's coming from the financial reporting expert. Don't put your name. Don't put your exam number. However, at times I wonder, we still have cases at level 3 where candidates write wrong examination numbers. Others don't even write examination numbers. Members, let us be more serious. How can you go to sit an exam that you cannot remember your examination number? Instead of an examination number, someone puts a registration number, CPA stroke something. Your examination number starts with the year of the exam. Now this is 2026. So it will start with the 2026. And then the rest of the digits. Supporting workings. We expect that you provide supporting workings as appendices to the reports, if possible. Questions that require you to provide accounting treatment. Before you provide accounting treatment, you must have done the computations. Those computations should not be mixed with the report. They should come later. Present the report on page 1, present the computations on page 2. However, if you think that will confuse you, then you can mix. But what is advisable? Separate workings from the report. Knowledge of recent developments in financial reporting. I have talked about this. You must be at the top of your game. Know the emerging issues. Attempt 3 questions only. Don't be hoodwinked into attempting 4. You are just fooling yourself. That when I do 4, I can beat the system. Where? Don't waste time doing 4 numbers. Do 3. You are given 15 minutes to prepare. Preparing does not mean compute. You are just scanning through. You scan through and make a choice. Stick to that choice. It pains to find that someone wrote 3 pages and cancelled them. It's very painful. And my advice to you on that one, if you have attempted, done your solution, and you think it is wrong, don't cross it. Leave it. Don't cross it. Simply go and redo what you think is correct. The examiner will come, assess both solutions, and mark what is correct. But when you cancel, you might actually cancel the correct thing. So never cancel anyway. Don't cancel anything in this paper. If you think it's not right, leave it. Start afresh and write what you think is correct. The examiner will mark all of them and choose what is correct. Because the examiner also understands that there is pressure that comes with these exams. Misinterpretation of questions. Candidates tend to misinterpret questions. We are now looking at why do candidates fail? Misinterpretation. The questions at this level are complex, but very practical. And they require careful reading and analysis. In this paper, you're not going to start answering immediately. First read the question, understand it, start to answer. Some candidates, Candidates attempt less than 3 questions. If you do that, you're going to fail. If you don't attempt 3 questions, you are working out of, say, 75. You're a candidate for failure. It's not that ICPA will fail you if you have only done 2. But we are saying your chances of passing are very few. So always attempt 3 questions. That now calls for time management. And for you to be able to manage your time well, you must have done enough practice so that you are not seeing the things for the first time. Inadequate syllabus coverage. It's another reason why people fail. Candidates have scanty knowledge on syllabus areas. Now, like in this presentation, I have given you the must-know areas. Can we all work towards mastering those key areas? Because if you come with scanty knowledge on key syllabus areas, you will fail. Spot reading. Avoid spot reading. Whereas I've given you the must-know areas, it doesn't mean that you don't read the other areas. I'm saying these you must read to the maximum. And also read the rest. But these you must know perfectly. Don't spot read. That no, yes, that one I will not. When it comes, I will not do. You may be shocked to find that it is what is easier in that paper. Generic and academic answers is another reason people fail. Candidates fail to relate them to case studies. Candidates present generic solutions. Generic solutions carry few marks, and at times they carry nothing. Always relate your solutions to the case study, and please quote the relevant standards. This is not a paper where you can walk out without referring to standards and expect to pass. Okay? Weak numerical skills and fear to address minds to practical scenarios. Some people fear computations. As I said earlier, the paper is 60% computations, 40% theory. So you can't run away from computations. If you are weak in numerical skills, please work on that weakness. You have 4 months to correct that weakness. Inadequate practice. Some people prefer to die once. Don't go to do an exam before you have tested yourself under examination environment. You cannot go to an exam before practice, because what that means is you are now practicing with the exam. In an exam, there is no room for error. The errors you make them in mocks, we correct them. Substandard presentations. Some candidates provide presentations without computations. Then don't expect to score marks. Your presentations, your recommendations, your advice must be supported by computations. Okay? What is the way forward? Because we can talk about failing, but now what is the way forward? We recommend regular practice with the past papers. I recommend past papers from 2016 to date. Print them out. By the time we commence our lectures after elections, you need to have these past papers. They will form a basis for our examples. Mocks. We shall issue this time 3 mocks. I will issue 3 mocks. 1 at 80% completion level, and then 2 after completing the syllabus. Let us attend these mocks. But you issue mocks 20% turn up. Then you expect to come and make miracles in the exams. I normally say, if you can pull a 30 in my mock, you will pull a 50 in the ICPA exams. For me, that is my test. That's my benchmark. And I will make a follow-up on those people who secured the 30 in my mocks. ICPA books, read them. You are lucky. It is not luck, but it's a favor that at MAT Abacus, your tutors are also the writers of the books issued by ICPA. So the content that is given to you in the books by MAT Abacus mirrors the content that is in the ICPA books. Please, when you get this reading material from MAT, start immediately. Okay? Once you practice with the past papers and the mocks and you have read the books, it will help you to familiarize yourself with the questions. Does one have to do the mocks physically or there is a chance online? I have discovered that once people say we are doing online, some submit after 5 days, others submit after 2 days, like that. Others, you are not sure whether they sat for 3 hours uninterrupted. It becomes hard for us to assess. I recommend, I appeal to you, if you can come physically, please come. Kill that weekend and come. And I think as MAT Abacus, again, I will appeal to MAT, we shall engage with management, that we clearly designate weekends for mocks. So that if someone comes to do advanced reporting in the morning, then they know that in the afternoon, they have public finance management. Instead of scattering these mocks. Okay? I would recommend physical, but if it is not possible, then it is up to you to sit home and sit for 3 hours uninterrupted and submit the paper on the same day at the same time like those who sat it physically. I will mark and provide feedback. Okay? Jackie is saying, please consider those applicants let mocks be both online and physical. Yes, Jackie, this has been our practice as MAT, and it will continue. My appeal to you is to submit the mocks on the same day, like those who attempted it physically. Avoid generic answers, government policy. What's wrong with government policy? You can't give that answer at this level. The method is hard to use. That's not a professional answer. That's academic. Such answers, you put them at the end. When you are exhausted, you have no more answers to write. But you find the question is saying, discuss the advantages of this approach. Discuss the advantages and disadvantages of using a deferred income approach. In the advantages, someone puts, the method is simple to use. He comes in the disadvantages and say, the approach is hard to use. So, if you are the one, Godwin, what do you mark? Simple to use, hard to use?
You leave all of them.
You leave all of them. And in any case, those are generic answers. They are not professional answers. Some of us, the method is simple to use when he has failed the calculation. Then where is the simplicity? Okay, so avoid such answers at this level. Pay attention to the question requirements and structure your solutions appropriately. Colleagues, some of these things I'm presenting in this paper cut across all papers of level 3. Pay attention to question requirements. What does the examiner want me to do? It's not that you have seen they are testing about operating segments. Then you go straight to computing what qualifies. No. First understand what do they want me to do. And then you structure your solutions in line with what they want. Don't overwrite. Always attempt 3 questions. This one we have talked about it. Colleagues, don't attempt 2. You will fail. Some of you have your money. It is okay. But what about the time? You don't have the time. Yes, the papers are cheap, 120, 110. It is lunch for someone. But what about the time? For me, actually, my interest is in time. These 4 months, you should not waste them. Continue attending webinars and briefings organized by MAT Abacus and CPA. And we thank MAT for this. Because now we shall come to start studying when we have a picture of what is expected of us. If MAT organizes more webinars, please attend. ACCA will organize engagements in March or April. Please attend them. It gives a chance to interact with the examiners, hear from them. Okay? Master the fundamentals. These are the must-know areas. Refer to the key topics. We have already talked about them. Master them. That's my appeal. Ensure adequate syllabus coverage, at least 80% of the content and learning outcomes. At least 80%. But what I want, 100%. And that we shall deliver. Test yourself in an examination environment. Time yourself to build efficiency. We shall give 3 mocks. But are they enough? No. You yourself, you must sit home. Work out a certain year and present to Zedi for marking. Sit home, try out December 2025. Submit the script for marking. I will mark and make comments. Once you do that for 10 times, you will build capacity. You will not fear any question. But if you don't do that, and you're wasting your time in discussion groups, you are lying yourself. Always read examiners' comments, at least for the previous 2 years. We know what happens. Once an exam is done, we shall publish the question papers and the solution. Many of you rush to print the solution. Yes, the solution is okay, but you cannot administer a drug without doing a diagnosis. Before you read the solution, first read the examiner's comments. Find out what are the examiners saying. What made people fail? Let me tell you, colleagues, out of 100%, you have a pass rate of 20%. It means 80% have failed. That's a very big statement. As someone who is serious, your interest should be in why did the 80 fail? Because when examiners are writing their reports, the focus is on those that failed. Because the one who passed, that one is okay. I have nothing to comment. But what about the other one who failed? What made him fail? Read those comments. Those comments add a lot of value. Choose tuition providers wisely. That is very key. ICPA published on their website a list of accredited tuition providers. Desist from the practice, from the temptation of looking for cheap facilitators. You're looking to save 50,000. Those are peanuts. You are actually saving 50,000, but foregoing 4 months. Because the practice is, because there is no regulation, everyone who completes a paper goes to a primary school and starts teaching. My colleague, you are burying your time. Choose tuition providers wisely. Professionally, we are not allowed to do marketing. That's why I have not put MAT here. I said choose wisely. There is a list accredited. Don't go to a primary school because they are charging 150 and MAT Abacus is charging 300. Quality is associated with the cost. Okay? First read the question. That is the way forward. And I will share this presentation after. What is our approach to the questions? Me as a candidate, what is expected? What should I do if I go to an exam? Read the question requirements and ensure you have understood the examiner's expectations. When we are attempting questions, we attempt from the required first. You first read what is required before you read the case study. Don't start from the case study and then read the questions. There you may waste time actually. You may read the case study, then when you come to the questions, you can't attempt them. Yet you have spent like 10 minutes on the case study. That time is wasted. It is better you start with the case study, with the questions required. After confirming that you can actually attempt the required, then you go and read the scenario. As you read the transaction details, your emphasis should be on identifying relevant information. Not everything that is put in a case study is relevant. Some of that information is not relevant, but it is put there so that you make the case study big. You know, some people judge the quality of a paper by number of pages. If you set an exam on 5 pages, this was a very small exam. I think it was very simple. But if you bring 12 pages, guys will say the paper was hard. So some of the content in the case studies is not relevant, but it is put there to make the case study somehow reasonable. So your interest should be, what is the relevant information from this case study? Start answering from the theoretical parts. I will emphasize this. 90% of the people who pass because of theory. Very few people pass because of computations. Normally, the theory parts are not affected by computations unless otherwise. So when you go to answer, start with the theory. First work out the theory. Do the theory questions and then you go for the computations. By the way, you can actually attempt theory questions in 30 minutes. And then you have 2.5 hours reserved for computations. Attack the questions. Attack from the questions you are well familiar with. That helps you to build confidence. Don't start with the hard questions. An exam is not for showing off. An exam is about correction of marks. How do I correct marks? You attack from the weakest angle. If you are Arsenal, you cannot request to start with Manchester United in a season. I say, let me start with the Wolves. You attack from, if you start with the Wolves, then you play Sunderland, then you play Charlton, then you play Wigan. By the time you go to play Manchester, you have built confidence. You can actually play and beat them. But if you start with the hard questions, you will even fail the simple questions. Avoid writing too much and too small. Don't write a lot. I normally encourage answers not exceeding 2.5 lines. That will save you from time wasting, misfiring, and scoring half marks. Because when you overwrite, you may actually misfire. Don't write a lot. If you talk a lot, you can even talk wrong things. And don't write too small. Don't present outlines. Okay? Start by quoting in class. Call me at 2. Quote, members, can you hear me? Members, am I still loud and clear?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Start by quoting the standards. Talk about the measurement, recognition criteria, compute and report. That is the approach at level 3. You start by quoting the standard. You say the transaction should be accounted for using IS 23 borrowing costs as below. Then you now start the computations. So we have missed a step. You say the transaction should be accounted for using IS 23 borrowing costs, full stop. Another paragraph. The standard requires an entity to, you now present the measurement and recognition criteria. After that, you now do the computations. After the computations, you now report. You report your computations. Where should this figure be reported? Is it an expense? Is it income? Is it an asset? Where should we take it? That is the approach. Okay? State your answer first. Your answer should be precise and concise. Refer the examiner to appendices. It goes back to not writing too much. Your answer should come first. And don't exceed 2.5 lines. All recommendations, evaluations must be based on the workings. Avoid generic recommendations. Whatever you are recommending should come from the workings, should come from the computations. Be consistent with your answers. Marks are awarded even if they are numerical errors. If the answer is 20 million and for yours is 19, be consistent with the 19. Go ahead and advise using 19. However much 19 is a wrong answer, but for as long as you apply it consistently and we assess the principle is there, you'll get your marks. I'm not encouraging you to write wrong answers, but I'm saying in case it has happened, because you can make numerical errors, you can wrongly press a calculator. The calculator can black out, and those can cause numerical errors. What for us we assess is the principle. Has the candidate applied the principle rightly? Yes. Then the candidate gets their marks. Because we believe that upon qualification, when you qualify in the field, there is a checker and there is a reviewer. That 19 will be reviewed and corrected in the field. Our interest is, do you have the principles? Always attempt theoretical questions first. We have talked about this. Normally, these are not linked to computations. Okay? If we look at how the performance in December 2025 was, we saw a decline from 21.5 in May to 20.4 in December. There was a decline. The decline aside, you see that average the performance is 20%. That when we sit out of 100, only 20 pass. The 80 fail. That's a very big number. That's a very big number. It's a concern to CPA. It's a concern to MAT Abacus. It's a concern to the public. Don't be there thinking that CPA wants you to fail. No. MAT Abacus, CPA, and all other stakeholders are doing their best to improve pass rates. So you having seen that pass rate, you must strive to be part of it. Don't be part of the 80, be part of the 20. You enter very many at level 1. Those who integrate are very few. You start 1,500, you integrate 115. Less than 10%. Section B remains an area of great concern to us because it's not predictable and it has a level 2 question. Candidates tend to find problems there. They struggle a lot there. Majority of the candidates don't obtain 50% of the allocated marks. In other words, people score less than 25%, score less than 25 marks in Section B. Section A candidates pass. They perform well. Even you, by the time you complete the first 2 months, you'll be very okay in group accounting. Section A, you enter knowing it is group accounting. What you don't know is whether it's income statement, balance sheet, or cash flows. But at least you know. Section B, you enter without knowing. That's why there is struggling there. Have that in mind and let us develop solutions. Feel free to approach me that, sir, I think let us try this option. Because I've tried several options. I don't employ the same options sitting after sitting. I keep on changing them. I change tactics. I'm not like Amorim. I'm flexible. If this doesn't work, I change to this. But Section B remains an area of concern. Questions about level 2 standards are not well attempted because at that time, candidates have already forgotten what they covered. Theoretical answers are also lacking. You remember that question 4? We said question 4 is theoretical, but the answers you give are lacking. They are generic. Government policy, simple to use, cannot be understood by a layman. We are not teaching lay people. So those answers, don't present them here. These are the academic answers. Candidates don't read examiners' reports. You rush to get solutions. You don't read the reports. And you don't attend engagements. Because you don't read these reports and you don't attend engagements, you continue to make the same mistakes. The examiner's reports will show you where you went wrong. The engagements, you will interact with the subject matter experts. They will paint for you a picture of what you're expecting in the exams. You don't read reports, you don't attend seminars. I'm very happy that we have a turn-up of 80 candidates. That's a very good turn-up on day 1. Let us continue that spirit. Okay? Above all, I request you, we walk this journey together, and the rest will be history. I thank you for listening. I can now welcome comments. Tina was saying also, what do you mean by generic answers? Answers which are not related to the case study. Okay? Those are generic answers. They are not specific to the case study. That answer becomes generic. Also, where do we find examiners' comments for a particular paper? The examiners' comments are also on the website, on the portal. Where you find solutions and past papers, there is a folder for comments. Oh, Deborah had answered that. Thank you very much, Deborah. And Sharon. Why are papers becoming extremely hard? For example, AFM December, where 92% failed. Yeah. Lack of adequate preparation. Candidates don't prepare well. Candidates expect academic questions, and us as tutors, we only work out questions that have solutions. Because we normally receive these calls from fellow tutors. Sir, please help me with the solution for this. I'm going to teach. Now, you is going to teach. You cannot work out the question. Now, you want to go and teach it to candidates. Do you expect candidates to pass? Eh? Agnes, if your tutor cannot work out the question, can this tutor teach it to you and you pass it? Andrew, Ochen. So, inadequate preparations.
Sorry,
Tutors
you
doing
responded.
numbers that have solutions. And the tutors failing to identify that this solution has an error. But a tutor goes ahead to cram the same solution and deliver it perfectly, but with errors. That doesn't help you at all. Because there can be errors. And CPA acknowledges that. There can be errors. Inadequate practice. The question raised here is on advanced FM. The people failed because they are used between PV and IRR. The examiner moved into equivalent annualized NPV, and everyone collapsed. Candidates only cram portfolio analysis. When it comes to restructuring, candidates cram free cash flow to equity method and net assets valuation method. The tutor wants to go deep into gearing and share repurchase, etc. But I'm very sure my colleague Geoffrey will talk about that. Sir, I'm requesting if you can be present on the group so that in case someone is inquiring about something, you can easily respond. Yes, I will be present on the group. And this is a very good observation. And I will respond. That's well taken. But also, feel free to engage me in my inbox. It can be easier that way. But also in the group, once in a while, not once in a while, but I also, normally I respond to the group in the evening. But if you text me directly, I normally respond immediately. Okay? Okay. So are there any other reactions? Reactions? Okay. 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 I'm inquiring on physical classes option. Okay, please, how to join the group? We share a link for members to join. And thank you, Jackie. Jackie is taking charge of that so that she can share with you. I don't know whether Jackie wanted my number or the number for the colleague to help them. I think Wikiro has shared. I'm also inquiring on the physical classes option. Our classes at MAT are hybrid. You can attend it physically or you can attend online, both happening at the same time. We shall not charge you for attending online separate from attending physical. At MAT, this is what we expect. We shall give you classes online and physical. We shall give you recordings. We shall give you a textbook. We shall give you mocks. We shall revise, give you revision. What we shall not give you are past papers. But there is a bureau at MAT that sells them. Or you can go to your portal, download them, print, and bind. Above all, we should also give you a very conducive environment where you can read and interact with professionals. Because we have several people doing several professional programs and postgraduate programs. Okay? Physical classes and online classes happen at the same time. Physical classes are starting the weekend after next weekend, because we want to give people ample time to vote and also watch counting of results. So you come when you know the president, and we settle and move on. I don't want to be in class teaching when you are watching counting votes. How best can we attempt theory and leave space for calculations? Never do this. Don't attempt theory and leave space. Why do you leave space? If you are attempting question 2 and it has parts A, B, and C, and you know part C, on page 1, you put there part C. You put 2C on page 1. Then 2B and A can come later. What is important is numbering of your work. If you have numbered your work, the examiner will look for it and mark it. Don't skip 4 pages, then you put 2C. No, what are you doing? Actually, if you skip 4 pages, the examiner may, if he's not very attentive, may actually not open to go inside the booklet. You are standing a risk of having your work unmarked. I'm against that thing of skipping pages. Page 1 to C. If you don't know 2B and 2A, you don't know them, go to question 3 and put it on page 2. Then you can put 2C somewhere else. Numbering is the key thing. Your number, okay, I'm going to share it again. Will we be able to access recordings for level 2 standards at no extra cost? I'm going to engage with admin because we have to develop a solution. How best can we help our candidates appreciate level 2? Is the reading material already available at MAT? Yes, subject to payments. There is a criteria, there's an internal control that you get the book if you have paid this amount of money, but the material is available. Do you have a class next week? Next week is elections. Let us first get the president, then we continue. How many sessions will be there per week? I only teach on weekend. However, there can be public holidays during the week. So I teach on weekends and on public holidays. But when it comes to revision, because you know this semester is very short, you'll do exams in mid-May. Because the exams for this semester follow the holiday for term 1. The holiday for term 1 is at the beginning of May. So you'll do the exams in mid-May. So technically we have February, March, and April. It's a very short semester. So that's why some revision sessions will be during the week, so that we're able to cover the syllabus 100%. Okay? Okay, then I think that is, those were the reactions from the members. Can I share my mobile? Yes. Okay, let me get it here. Hey, why isn't it sharing? What is this? Hey, technology is trying to defeat me. Yeah. Okay. Members, are you able to see that screen? I don't know. From my side, I can't see.
No.
Oh. Oh. And there, can you copy that?
There is nothing on the screen.
Oh, how? There's nothing on the screen.
First unshare and then reshare.
Okay. There's nothing on the screen. And that, still nothing?
Nothing.
Okay. Okay, let me see here. Okay.
Yes, there is something on the screen.
Wonderful. So the mobile is right there. Then is the reading mat okay? That one we handled. Please just tell us. Okay. 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 Good. Yeah. I think we have answered all queries, unless there are other queries.
Sorry, Mr. Z. This is Rita. I didn't get the response about the reading material. My network was down.
Okay. The reading material is available, but as I said, subject to payments. There is a certain amount of money you must have paid to qualify for the book. But it's available if you have paid, I think, 60 or 40%. I don't know. But it's available at MAT. Admin can give you details.
Okay, thanks.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, please.
I'm inquiring, are we going to have class next week?
Next week is elections. We shall not have class. We shall start classes the weekend after next week.
Thank you.
Good. We cannot have class next week. The president even himself declared the public holidays on Thursday and Friday. Saturday you will be following results. Sunday still the same. You cannot settle. So we shall have classes the other weekend.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, Nicholas.
Yes, the time for the classes, like after the next week, they shall be like at what time?
Yes, our classes start at 9 in the morning, but at times they start at 2. After this, I'm going to share a timetable on the group so that you can see the time. So if this weekend class was at 9, next weekend it will be at 2. Because I want to balance it with paper 7. They also get a chance to study in the morning, and then next time they study in the afternoon. So we interchange with the paper 7, since the tutor is the same.
Okay, yeah. So on Saturday and Sunday.
Saturday.
Oh, okay.
Sunday, I know I teach on Saturday and on public holidays. Although this time, because I said the semester is short, I think we have like 2 classes or 3 classes on Sunday. Because the semester is short. But 99% Saturday. I hope we shall have more classes to cover this on time. We give you 23 classes, and that is adequate from our experience to cover the syllabus. Covering on time, that one don't even have any worry. After this, I'm going to release the paper, the mapping, and also the teaching schedule, so that you know on this weekend we are covering this, here we are covering this, like that, like that, like that. We shall have time to cover on time and then go into revision. That one, we are experts in that. Okay?
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, please.
I request that you release the level 2 standards early so that we can be going through it. We don't have we don't have a lecture this next week, so we can be going through those level 2 standards.
You request I release?
Release the level 2 standards. We go through them.
Okay. I'm going to send this presentation to admin so that admin uploads it so that you can see there's a section that talks about the core standards at level 2 here. As you plan, as you await coming to commence lectures, those standards there. You can take a picture but still we shall
Zedi,
upload this. Yes,
what
please.
she means is if, because you had said that you're going to speak to, I think, admin MAT to see if they can approve us to access level 2 standards. So what she was meaning was, if in case there is that approval for those that maybe have paid and have made a commitment, could you have them access the level 2 standards earlier before we commence classes, so that we reduce on the workload? Yeah, I think
No, that's very good. Oh, thank you very much for the clarification. That's very good and well taken. I'm going to engage admin immediately for those that have made a commitment to see whether we can give them access to level 2 as we wait to commence the lectures for level 3. That's well taken. I'm going to act. Okay. All right, colleagues. Thank you very much for listening. I wish you a good weekend.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank you, Zed.
Thank you.
Thank you, Zed.
Thank you, James.